Hey, Shalom Alaikum to water for joining today. Let's get started. Let me go ahead and just post this on other channels real quick and we'll get started. Give me a moment. I'm on a new phone and stuff, so the tablet just wasn't cutting it anymore. It makes a whole world of difference once you get a faster text. So, alright, so let's go and get started. Let me get this article up real quick. Because today we're to World War III and how all the things going on right now, it's basically forcing Russia to get into a war with the Western world, that being America and NATO, which the Bible refers to as the whore and the beast that she rides upon. But let's get this article real quick. So, like I said, today's lesson is going to be regarding the World War III and the hook that's in Russia's jaw. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Rakakwadash, Brakat the Yahweh, Brakat the Yahushai, Brakat the Yahweh, Brakat the Yahushai, Brakat the Yahweh, Brakat the Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Rakakwadash. Some honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who the house of David reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. So, like I said, today's lesson, we're going to talk about World War III, and we're going to get into the details of what's going to force Russia to actually get into this war, which for the most part it pretty much is already, and how that is all biblical. Okay, so to get started, let's go and read Ezekiel 38:3, which talks about how the Lord was going to go ahead and how the Lord prophesied he would bring this against the Russians, right? They're referred to in the Bible as Gog, okay? And so it says here, let me just start at 36:1. Actually, let me see, 36:2. Thus saith the Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, power, because the enemy Salak Yakin 30. Was that 36? Although that's basically Amalek taking our land. Here he goes, 36 or 38. 38:1. And the word of Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, came out to me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog. Magog just means from the land of Gog, okay? The chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And the beautiful detail that came out is Apostle Tahar actually came out talking about how that the name Russia, right, basically means chief prince. Okay, so that's not just a coincidence there, right? The Bible has a lot of nomen omens, meaning name predictions in the Bible, meaning that the names actually mean something. Because again, in the grand narrative of the Bible, even in the future, when there's gonna be new additions to the Bible and the new basically chronicles of what took place now, you're gonna have names that are gonna have similitudes to what actually happened, just like they did in the Old Testament and the New Testament regarding people and places. So again, verse 3, and say, thus saith Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So as we just have been watching the news throughout this week, there's been a lot of going on over there in Eastern Europe. Basically, they're on the border of Russia and Ukraine, right? We've seen the retaliation from Russia that retaliated against Ukraine regarding the long-range missiles that hit Russia last week, right? That came from U.S. and also UK, which is funny, right? Because Russia straight warned 3 times that if Ukraine was to use long-range missiles, that Russia would hold their NATO allies accountable for what took place, and that would then turn U.S. and Ukraine and NATO forces as open targets to Russia. Okay, and it was crazy because last week what happened is that U.S. First approved Ukraine to use the long-range ATACMS missiles system, okay, and Ukraine shot that off, and then it came on the news and everything. Russia came back. They even they were asked. They're also, again, remember at this point it was only the U.S. Missiles that were used by Ukraine. And they had asked the Russian ambassador, saying, well, in this case, do you also see UK as a target, or is open season on UK and UK allies? And they said no, just the United States. And they said as long as the UK does not use the Storm Shadow missile systems, then they won't be involved in this retaliation. And then what happens later that day? The UK Storm Shadow missiles get launched into Russia and hits that Russian palace, or like it's like a Senate or municipality building. Okay, so this isn't just a coincidence, right? It's not just they're just playing out little by little. No, this is a plan to delve the world into a World War III, right? The elites at the very top, that being the kings of Edom. And when I say kings of Edom, I'm talking about the Edomites, which are the biblical nation, or the biblical name for the so-called Caucasian and Israeli races. Hey, Shalom, Mark, the water flowing. So the thing is right now the elites at the top, these kings of Edom, they know time is short. They see that there is something coming from out of our solar system into our solar system, that it's stopped over there by Saturn. Okay, that being said, they know that their time is short, and they know that they only have a little bit of time to fulfill their agenda. What is that agenda? Is to microchip the people of the world, to disqualify them, to be saved by the Lord, and ultimately be available to be given the blessing and future rulership, and also to try to kill off as many Israelites, if not at all, all of them, so that way when the Lord does come back, it's only Esau who's gonna be able to claim that blessing back from his brother Jacob being us Israelites, the Negro, Latino, Native Americans. And then on top of that, they're also going to try to fight the Lord, because they know that they're not going to be able to finish all this. This is another reason why recently, and this actually happened maybe like last year, that they rushed an emergency, they gave an emergency authorization to SpaceX to push up even more satellites into space. And these are supposedly smaller satellites, and their whole explanation is because Russia had just recently launched anti-satellite weaponry into space, and that happened like last year, the beginning of last year. And they said that they feared that Russia would take out a lot of the important satellites, but with having more of these smaller SpaceX satellites, that the damage wouldn't be so much. So both can be true, right? Because not only are these satellites going to be used for to fight against these other nations, but also to set up the beast system, which again, SpaceX, I'm sure all of you Yakim know, I'm pretty acquired. SpaceX is along with all the companies that Elon Musk was given leadership over, because again, he didn't fucking invent shit. He's simply just the front man, just like Bill Gates was the front man for Microsoft. He's the front man for all these technologies that Esau has been holding back and is now releasing into the world, and is releasing into the world to bring forward his agenda, that being the mark of the beast, world domination, and all those type of things, right? Going over to this new world system where everything's going to be run off of renewable energy, which really is just energy that can be controlled and mitigated and turned off if they see fit, that you don't, your social credit score doesn't match, their requirements. But again, I digress. That being said, the world right now is getting ready for war, okay? And that's what we're going to go into right now. This article, which talks about some of the things going on and how all the world, for the most part, it says Europe, this is from the New York Post, says Europe preps for World War III as secret German documents reveal plans for 800,000 troops in case Russia invades NATO. Okay, so, and this was released on the 20th, so this is still a couple days older. But before I get into this, some other interesting things that have come out is, remember, Russia has modified their constitution to allow them to retaliate, against any other any acts of aggression, as long as those acts of aggression are backed by nuclear powered entities, right? So for example, what just happened right now, right? How Ukraine, a non-nuclear power entity, was given support with missiles and satellite telemetry and all that type of stuff, right? Because Ukraine was helped by UK and America, and that help came from a nuclear powered agent, right? America, the UK, the NATO systems. Russia now, under their own constitution, have now given themselves the green light to be able to retaliate with nuclear weapons, okay? And this is why everybody's all worried, and this is why you're seeing lots of those videos of, dear Mr. Putin, don't hit, don't bomb us, bomb our elites. And that's the truth, right? Because a lot of people here in America, they didn't vote for any of this shit. A lot of people, the things that people are voting for is to get a better healthcare system, a better economy. They don't give a fuck about Ukraine. They don't give a fuck about those Israelis, right? For the most part, the government here in Babylon the Great, America, has been co-opted and stolen ever since they killed JFK. And that's even coming out now, right? That these small hatters were behind that. And people are starting to realize that, and now they're starting to speak up about it, because now they're seeing that all these people who are like, well, I don't get into politics, now they're seeing their asses getting dragged into world events, because they haven't been getting into politics. They let this ship go without a captain for so long, right? Not getting involved in this. And now they've been led down the path to destruction by these leaders that have sold themselves out. And why is that? Well, because you see that these Edomites are the people at the charge right now. They're the drivers at the helm. And these Edomites, they're built for destruction. They're built to bring the destruction of the entire world. It's even prophesied in the Bible that they would be in rulership at the second, at the time of the second coming of the Messiah, and that by that time they would have the whole world under subjection, and that everything would be upside down, ran in wickedness. There would be, what did it say? Wickedness far further than what you see now, is what the angel Uriel told Ezra, right? That the world will be in a lot more wicked state, and that's what we're seeing going on right now. So that being said, the nuclear option is on the floor, and just what was released yesterday is that Biden is now considering giving nuclear weapons to Ukraine. Can you fucking believe that shit, right? And that now they're trying to they're trying to justify it, saying like they're just giving the nuclear weapons back to Ukraine after they took them away after the fall of the wall, as if that's fucking makes it any better. No, you see, so again, we are in World War III. Even the Ukraine, who was it? He was like the ex chief military officer, said we are now in World War III, right? And again, from all the acts and everything going on, and especially what we're going to read right now with these secret documents that were leaked over there in Germany, are showing that these elites that are running our world, that aren't, don't give a fuck about people's votes, right? Like they haven't for a long time, that they already have made plans, and they're just going through the motions to get us to that stage. And why is that? Because this is Esau's plan to delve the world into a catastrophe through plagues, wars, famine, and he's doing this for a depopulation agenda, which also ultimately ends with him ruling over the entire remnants of those who remain in a perpetual slavery, where he's going to always be in rulership, and all those who survive that are not outside of the 500 million or within the 500 million circle are going to be slaves, right? They're bringing back feudalism, and where you basically have a king, nobles, landlords, and then you got the serfs at the bottom, right? Basically the slaves, right? Where basically you work for your food and your housing, and that's it. There's no going to college, working hard and upgrading the society. No, that ain't gonna happen. It's gonna be a class system under this new Luciferian worldwide communistic technology or technocratic system that Esau is bringing forward, where he sits on top and all the other nations sits on bottom in a perpetual form of slavery. Okay, so the article reads. It says, This is doomsday prepping, European style. Secret documents revealed Wednesday that Berlin has begun making plans for how it could help deploy as many as 800,000 NATO troops, including Americans. So you see that? So get ready for a draft, okay? The draft more likely is going to be coming 2025, okay? Because again, America hasn't been filling its recruitment goals, right? Even after lowering the standards. So what does that mean? That means that you're going to see women and men being recruited into the military to be sent over there to Europe to die for Amalek and to die in this World War III. And that's ultimately judgment, right? Because a lot of people haven't been getting right. So the Lord is ultimately bringing judgment to the world in a big manner, right? That being through, like I said, through the famine, the plagues, war, and all these type of things. It says deploy as many as 800,000 NATO troops, including Americans, into Ukraine as Russia's nuclear saber rattling reaches new heights. Operation Deutschland is a 1,000-page plan to prepare Germany for possibility of a World War III scenario. It says the top secret papers reportedly detail specific buildings and infrastructure to protect so they can be utilized by the military, and how businesses and civilians should prepare in case of increased threats, according to the German newspaper Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung. They also suggested Berlin be preparing a way to push 200,000 military vehicles across German territory should the alliance be required to join Ukraine's efforts, though further details were kept classified. So it says Germany also advises citizens on ways to prepare for the worst by boosting their self-sufficiency through mechanization, including installing diesel generators or even wind turbines, according to the report. The alarm, it says, Putin's playing with our fear, said the German counselor. The alarm is not contained to Germany. Sweden and Norway have also recently issued pamphlets and literature instructing citizens on how to prepare should the Ukraine conflict boil over into their country. The rising concerns come as Russia's President Vladimir Putin formally changed the Kremlin's nuclear strike policy on Tuesday. That's what I was talking about, right? And by the way, just so you understand, back when that devil Bill Clinton came into power, he changed America's nuclear stance from being a defensive stance to being an offensive stance, meaning that before Bill Clinton came into office, the American military always had a stance that they would never use nuclear weapons as an attack, but simply as a defense after weapons were shot at them, okay? But when Bill Clinton came in, remember, Bill Clinton is one of these devils that are controlled by the globalist elite Edomites, okay? He's an Edomite himself. So that being said, when he came in, he changed the stance of America's nuclear policy to be an offensive stance, meaning that America has a strike first policy when it comes to nuclear weaponry. And that's why Russia is now has changed their stance to be able to allow them to use nuclear weapons in a defense. So continuing, it says Vladimir Putin formally changed the Kremlin's nuclear strike policy on Tuesday, announcing that Moscow may now use nuclear weapons to respond to non-nuclear conventional weapon strikes. Though Berlin has been criticized over perceived hesitation regarding support for Ukraine's fight since 2022, German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock said Tuesday that the country would not let ourselves be intimidated by Putin's nuclear policy shift. Putin is playing with our fears. He didn't just start doing this 1,000 days ago when Russia invaded Ukraine. He started back in 2014 when Russia annexed Crimea. And by the way, if you're unfamiliar, it's the NATO powers that started all this shit out by going into Ukraine and basically conducting a coup under what's her name, Nuland. I forgot that bitch's name. She's some Amalekite who worked for the Department of Justice that orchestrated a coup in Ukraine back in 2014, which is what caused Russia to start that war, or to basically try to get out the Western controlled powers out of Ukraine, which they haven't been able to ever since then. And it says, she said, Germany in particular made the mistake back then, especially politically, of allowing itself to be intimidated by this fear. And above all, not listening to its partners, especially our Eastern European partners. Basically, Poland, Ukraine, and all those people right there on the border of Russia. It said, who made it clear at the time that we must not rely on promises from the Kremlin. We must invest in our own security and protection, she added. The policy change was in response to another major development in war's persecution this week. The long-awaited U.S. decision to allow Ukraine to fire American-made long-range missiles into Russia, eliminating a former safe space Russia enjoyed 190 miles from the Ukraine border. So, and it says, the move, as well as Germany's reported decision to create a World War III plan, was spurred by Russia's decision to ask North Korea to send at least 10,000 troops to help fight Ukraine, with the possibilities of bringing in another 100,000 from the communist U.S. advisory, insider says. Many world leaders, experts, and U.S. officials have said the direct involvement of U.S. troops is the most significant escalation in the war since its start, right? And what they're talking about is how they've been finding U.S. special forces, like I think Green Berets, that Russia ended up killing, and actually, displaying their dead bodies along with all their gear. They took photos of them along with their IDs, and this was like last month, I believe. And also, they've been finding, there's been reports of Navy SEALs being deployed in Ukraine, right? So, and on top of that, you have all the support that Ukraine is getting from the satellite and intelligence arm of the U.S. to shoot these missiles and to provide guidance on this high-tech weaponry. And it says, a path to victory. Europe's preparations come after former and future presidents Donald Trump regularly warned audiences at his campaign rallies that the U.S. could be on the brink of World War III, as three of America's foremost advisories, Russia, North Korea, and Iran, are now actively involved in conflicts with U.S. allies. Without Trump announcing a formal plan for how he will handle the Ukraine war, some Russia hawks and NATO states have feared he might sympathize with Moscow. However, the president-elect has shown recent signs of supporting Ukraine in reaching a just end to the war. For example, Trump indicated he would not oppose allowing Ukraine to continue firing into Russia once he comes into office, in a recent conversation with an Eastern European president, a source told the Post on Wednesday. That strategy of hitting Russia directly is a major part of Ukrainian Vladimir Zelensky's victory plan he has been pitching to world leaders, including Trump, since this fall. And he says, I recall our great meeting with President Trump back in September, when we discussed in detail the Ukraine-U.S. strategic partnership, the victory plan, and ways to put an end to Russian aggression against Ukraine, Zelensky posted on X after Trump secured the 2024 election. I appreciate President Trump's commitment to the peace through strength approach in global affairs. This is exactly the principle that can particularly bring peace in Ukraine closer. I am hopeful that we will put it into action together. Zelensky has continued singing the president-elect's praises this week, telling Fox News on Tuesday that he believed the Republicans' election will bring a swifter end to the war because Trump is stronger than Putin. And it says, however, the Ukrainian president also cautioned that if the U.S. Congress refuses to continue military aid for Ukraine, his country will lose. Still, he was optimistic in a Sunday interview with Ukrainian public broadcaster Suspline that thanks to part of Trump's election, the war could end next year through diplomatic means. The war will end faster with the policy of this team that will now lead the White House, referring to the incoming Trump administration. This is their approach, their promise for their society, and it is also very important to them. So there you go. So that right there is a good roundup of what's going on geopolitically on the world stage right now, while they're over here trying to distract Americans by not even telling them what's going on, not even telling Americans to prepare for what's coming, right? Everybody here thinks that now that Trump's elected, that now everything's going to be good, and there's kind of like a lulling back to sleep that you kind of feel happening here in America. But you see, this isn't going to happen. You see, things aren't going to go back, and peace isn't coming in. They're more likely going to start World War III before Trump gets into office. Well, should I say, you're going to have major escalations of America's involvement, because again, World War III has already started, as many European politicians and figureheads have said. But what's gonna change is that we're more likely going to see a big attack or something that's going to involve, or it's going to require America's involvement within the next 2 months. Okay, now why is this? Well, this way they could put the blame on Biden, who's about to fucking die, right? But he's like 1 foot in the casket, and this way he could go off and fuck off into the sunset, while Trump then comes into office and he could pretend like, well, I didn't want to fight, but now that we're in the war, we got to finish it. It's going to be a great war. Trust me, we're going to win, and all this bullshit, right? That's what's more likely going to happen. But again, remember, why is this happening? Well, because it is the Lord's will that World War III takes place, even though it was started by the Jesuits and the Freemasons and all these elites at top. They've had plans that we had recorded going back to like the 1880s, showing that Albert Pike said that they were going to initiate 3 world wars in a worldwide takeover scheme. But it doesn't matter if they were the ones initiating it. It's ultimately by the will of the Lord that this is happening, okay? And this here is what the Lord has to say with that. This is Joel 3:2. It says, let me start at 1. Joel 3:1. For behold, in those days and in that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. That right there is in the land of Israel. Okay, this is why right now you're seeing Israel going crazy with its neighbors. Right now they're bombing the shit out of Lebanon, killing apartment full of families, right, overnight. They're talking about going into the West Bank after they, for the most part, genocided Gaza, and it's going to only continue. This is why you had Erdogan over there in Turkey talking about he's going to leave NATO, and that basically they got to stop Israel because they know that Israel's going to keep going. And that's because the Greater Israel Project basically includes part of Turkey and Syria. This is another reason why America is in Syria, basically destabilizing that land, one for the oil, but also for their masters, Israel, the Israelis, to take that land when the time comes. And it says, so again, that right there, I said all that to say this, that is how the Lord is gonna bring all these nations into the valley of Jehoshaphat, okay? You're gonna eventually see all these troops that are gathered up there in Ukraine. They're gonna simply come down, and they're gonna come down into the area of Levant, the so-called Middle East, the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is right there in the land of Israel. Because again, having Lebanon be attacked, and you're gonna have all these Arab and Muslim countries being attacked, that isn't going to go, that isn't going off well with Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Iran, right? They're going to basically come out and fulfill the prophecies written in Second Ezra's, talking about how they're going to come out and basically fight against these Israelis. It says, and I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered amongst the nations and parted my land. And all this is happening because, like I said, this is the Lord's will, and it's the Lord's will because this is how the Lord is ultimately going to bring judgment upon all the nations that have destroyed us. When I say us, I'm talking about the Israelites, the true biblical Israelites of the Bible, that being the Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, okay? So that's how the Lord is going to ultimately bring down all these other nations, okay? He's gonna lure them over there into a trap, and he's gonna basically make them all come against each other, which we all know that a lot of these nations are already working with each other, and they know that the Lord is coming, and that they know that's where they're gonna ultimately fight against the Lord when he shows up. And they may think that they're playing 4D chess and they're going to be able to surprise the Lord and trick the whole world into going over there and basically put on this war. But no, the thing is, it doesn't matter if they try to catch the Lord, by surprise. They ain't going to catch the Lord by surprise. The Lord already knows what they're doing, and this is why he's written it in a book. Okay, so that being said, let's go and read this. This is Proverbs 27:12. It says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. So right now, in these times where all these things are going on, you would think a lot more people would be awoken to the world events, U.S. politics, especially with the economy and everything the way it's going. But a lot of people are still asleep. And that's because there's heavy witchcraft being pushed out to the world with the movies, the entertainment, which is barely holding on. But a lot of people are simply just not paying attention. One, because again, they're being distracted, or simply because of cowardness, right? They believe that if they just don't pay attention, that it's all gonna blow over, and they'll just keep, going to work and trying to raise their family, and that things will just work out. But see, they don't realize that even though that has some truth to it, like it did in the past, which is why if back in the days, and I'm talking about like in the 2000, after 2000, everything for the most part started to attack all the regular families and stuff. But before then, you could simply just not associate yourself or involve yourself in anything. You just go on and live a normal life, or what you perceive was normal, and you wouldn't be affected by the things going on around the world. But that now has changed because the devil has now come down onto the earth, and because, like the Bible says, he knows that he has but a little time. And what do I mean by this? Well, now you can't have your children go to these public schools without being indoctrinated or having these alphabet agendas pushed on them. You can't go to work anymore without now being forced to some extent or another, without having something injected into you, right? You now have to watch what you say, and you now have to affirm certain mental illness and imaginary concepts, so that way you don't hurt somebody's feelings, right? The world of no longer being able to, or should I say, the whole option of no longer being able to involve yourself, it's over already. It is now affecting, for the most part, everybody in the world. Okay, and what I mean by this is like are some of those examples that I just said, and then going forward, they're going to collapse the economy, the money system that we all work on. It's all going away. Okay, they're going to destroy the money system, and when they destroy the money system, then everybody's going to be affected, right? Everybody's going to be pushed in to that new digital currency, which will later on tie into a social credit system, which will later on tie into the implantable RFID chips, which are the mark of the beast. Okay, and the thing is I said all that to say this. The scripture I just read said that a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple move on and are punished. Okay, now the thing is you can't physically hide from what's going on, right? You can't go out to the desert and dig a well, grow a garden and stuff like that. They think none of this, think all this shit's gonna fucking pass you over. No, your money system, your money's gonna get affected. The law system is gonna get affected. To work in this society, or interact with society, it's now going to change. And you're now going to need a RFID chip to identify yourself to interact in the society. Okay, if you want to drive, you're going to need a chip. You're going to all these type of things. So that means there's certain things that you could do to hide yourself. Okay, and how do you hide yourself? By getting right with the Bible. That is if you are a Negro, Latino, Native American, right? If you're one of these other nations, you just happen to be on one of these this video watching this, the best you can do is just try to hold out and stock up some food and try to go off and live the best life you can. But the thing is for us Israelites, us Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and anybody whose father's lineage goes back to that bloodline, for us there's a way for us to spiritually hide ourselves, and that's by coming back to our original heritage, our ancient lost heritage that the Lord is calling us back to, right? And in doing so, what the Lord's going to do, he's going to basically build a spiritual hedge around you, right? The people, just the average layman understands this as good luck. But the Bible refers to it as being blessed. And why is that? Well, that's because you're coming back and performing the acts of the Lord. You're performing the covenant that the Lord made with you and your people back in the days, okay? And when you do that, when we do that, us Israelites do that, we get blessed, okay? We get taken care of. We get hidden from the enemies. We get hid from the secret counsel of the wicked, right? And those who try to confound us and destroy us, they themselves get destroyed and confounded, okay? So this is what we as Israelites should be doing at this time, Akim. Yes, it's totally okay to stock up more food, to stock up things to make energy and things to take care of yourself in the carnal aspect, but getting right with the Lord, finding out what you got to do to perform these laws is probably the most important things we could do, because without this truth, without having the Lord on your side and having this spiritual hedge built around us, none of that shit's going to matter, because what's going to end up happening is the Lord's going to get you stuck somewhere outside of your house or somewhere too far away from all your provisions, and you're going to be overtaken, and those provisions are going to be given to somebody else who the Lord wants those things to go to. Okay, so consider that. Now, that being said, let's read this, because remember, like I said, there's going to be a coming draft with this World War III that's breaking out right now. Right now, they're not really talking about it in the U.S. media, right? They're trying to basically hide it as much as possible because they don't want to scare the consumers here. Because again, as soon as they start mentioning that World War III has broken out and that there's military action going on and that we're sending over military troops, then what's going to happen is the economy is just going to fucking collapse. And Esau doesn't want the economy to collapse just yet, right? He wants to do everything at his own time, so he's ready, so that way he could be there to basically pull the levers when the levers need to be pulled. So that being said, what's going to eventually come is going to become a great draft. Either it's going to be by patriotic fervor where people are just going to join because some crazy shit's going to happen. They're going to say Iran did something or China did something or Russia did something, and you're going to have a lot of people probably sign up, or it's going to force the Congress and the Senate to enact the military draft, and that's going to draft a lot of U.S. men to war, and that's what's going to fulfill this prophecy. This is Second Ezra 16 and 33. Actually, we'll start at 32. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travail therethrough. So again, what you're seeing right now with these devils going around to these farmers, to paying them not to plant seed anymore, to undertill their crops, to kill off all these animals. They're manufacturing a famine. They're basically gearing the world down. They're gearing the world production down for food, the economy, and just people's movements. Okay. Hey, Shalom, Mark. So the thing is in doing that, you're going to see a lot of these places that used to be used for food or production or things like that, they're just going to be overgrown. There's no longer going to be, gardens. I bet you when you go over to, you know what? As somebody who lives in California, a lot of y'all if you stay out here in California, if you ever travel from Los Angeles all the way up there to San Francisco, you've always passed all those major farms, right? But over the last, I'd say 10 years, every time you go up and you go past those farms, you see all these signs, right? Turn back all the water. Look what California has done to the farmers. No water, no food. And all those farms that when I was a kid, and my family used to go up to San Francisco to visit our family up there, I remember you would see tons and tons of farmland for as far as the eye can see. Oranges, all these different vegetables, right? And it just rows and rows. But now when you go up there, you barely even see any, you barely see maybe like one or like four different patches of farms, right? And they're all smaller than they used to be. So again, these places that used to be sown before, they're going to be done for. The brother Adam Nana brings out Isaiah 46:9. It says, remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is none else. I am Yahweh, and there is none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Exactly. So see, we have the playbook here. We have the cheat codes. Okay, the only thing is we have to actually believe in it and understand and care enough to actually get into it and study what is found in this book that was given to us Israelites, the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and all those whose father's lineage goes back to that bloodline, and actually find out what the Lord actually said. And what the Lord is saying can help us hide ourselves in the future from all these wicked things to come, and not be taken by these wiles of the devil. Because again, I can tell you, if you're paying attention to the news, which I do, and a lot of my friends do at work, again, they're stuck in the world. Their foundation is Esau's system. So they're losing their shit, and I'm here like, oh well, just another Tuesday, And the thing is because I know what's really going on. I understand that where this all is going to lead to, and that's ultimately World War III, nuclear annihilation for America and the NATO allies, and ultimately the Lord coming back, and all that. While that's going on, you're going to have us Israelites waking up, coming back to the remembrance of who we used to be, right, and who we still are. Okay, so that being said, let's continue. It says, verse 33, the virgins, right here, virgins means the young marriageable women. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. And why is that? Well, just go over there to Ukraine and look what's happening over there to Ukraine. You have all these women that are just missing all the men over there. And why is that? Well, because all the men were thrown into that meat grinder over there in the war with Russia. And that's going to come over here to America, right? A lot of the Americans here are going to be drafted and thrown into that meat grinder over there, World War III. And this is done on purpose because they want to eliminate as many people as possible through wars, famine, and pestilence, and all these different things. Because, again, they're trying to bring down the population of the world so that way they can readjust for this new feudal society that they're bringing forward, okay? They no longer need the hordes of people to run the machines, to work in the factories. They now have automation. They're now having all these robots, okay? That's what they believe they're going to be able to do, okay? So what's going to happen is that's going to leave a lot of the women without, husbands, people to marry, and ultimately helpers, okay? So continuing, it says, verse 34, in the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So a lot of the people who are going to stay here, who aren't going to be taken over there to war, they're gonna basically die off. And why is that? Well, because like I said, over the last 2 years, if you've been paying attention, all the way, even before they, what's going on?
What years are you talking about? Where are you at? Are you talking about?
Talking about Second Ezra, and we're talking about.
The last 2 years. What year are you talking about? What year are the last 2 years?
So if today's 2024, since 2022, after the COVID pandemic started, these people have initiated a controlled deconstruction of the food system. This is why food has become more expensive. This is why the economy is starting to collapse. This is why we're seeing farms being closed down. You're seeing animals being killed off at farms. They're killing off the pigs, the cows. They're vaccinating them, and now they're finding that all these cows are dying from the vaccinations. What's going on?
They're dying from vaccination.
Yeah.
Or they're not dying from mass fucking murder and
Yep.
slaughter.
Yep.
And fucking stress and shit.
Yeah,
And
that too.
Like fucking nothing but a fucking
Yep.
nothing but a piece of shit. Just
Yep.
slaughtered fucking like
Yep.
God.
So like I was saying, so what you're seeing is like you're seeing a planned deconstruction of the food system and a manufactured famine that's going to come. So when this war kicks off, you're going to see the economy is going to collapse, like I said. And once the economy collapses, you're going to see a big reduction in just manufacturing, and also in the slowing down of manufacturing is going to be a massive slowdown of food production. Okay, we're going to be at war with China, and when that happens, you're going to have a massive stop of importing from China. So don't worry, I'm not here. You don't need to talk. You just listen. So that being said, let's continue. And it says, 34, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of Yahweh. Behold the word of the Lord, receive it, believe it not, the gods of whom the Lord spake. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. And that's ultimately what's going on, right? See, so all these things going on are all planned by these elites who are running the world, okay? And like I said again, this is why you've been seeing Bill Gates buying up all these farmlands and pushing forward all these vaccines, these mRNA vaccines to inject into these farm animals, because if they can't get you to take these vaccines, they're gonna have it injected into the food, the vegetables, everything you buy. And what's gonna eventually happen, it's gonna get a lot of these people who are going to be starving and are gonna go to these center locations that you're gonna start seeing. They're gonna be opening up. This is ultimately why FEMA and all these different places are going on. Here, let's see real quick.
I know I am. I don't think that I'm not on the food chain. I know I'm on the food chain, bro. No, please don't do that.
So you're on the food chain or what?
What?
Would you say you're on the food chain? Yeah, see? So you got a demon here and stuff. So ultimately, this is what you got to deal with, right? You got a lot of people who are ultimately going to be put to death because they don't see what's going on, and they're going to ultimately fall by the wayside because they haven't understand what's going on. So that being said, let's go and move on to this. Because you have a lot of people not paying attention to what's going on, and they're ultimately going to go on to be destroyed. The brother Adam Nana brings out Ecclesiastes 12:3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong man shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because there are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. See, that's ultimately what's going on right now, right? You're seeing all of these events going on. You're seeing even the stock analysts out there are worrying, saying that the economy is going to collapse, right? Talking about how they don't see how the U.S. can get out of this debt bubble that they're in. Because why? Because this is a plan, this construction of the elites that are coming through. These elites being the Edomites, right? And this ultimately is very evident to those who are paying attention and those people who the Lord is ultimately dealing with. And this is Daniel 12:10. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. So this is why you got economists and you got people who are wise in this world, that they understand what's going on. They understand that these things aren't just happening by coincidences. They know that these global forces are bringing forward the famines, the plagues, right? You even have Japan recently coming out talking about how these COVID shots that they ultimately were biological weapons. Okay, and now this is why over in what is it, the Netherlands? They're now I think it's the Netherlands. They want to put is it Bill Gates under they're bringing a suit against him or Fauci, because you see what's happening is that the world is starting to wake up to what's going on. At least those that are wise enough to see what's happening. But again, a lot of the people aren't going to really grasp the vastness of the agenda that the devil is bringing forward, right? These Edomites. Okay, so that being said, let's read this. This is Malachi 3:17, and actually, I'm gonna try 3:13. Actually, no. Let's just get down to 17. And they shall be mine, saith Yahweh Bashim Hashai of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. Because that's ultimately what we got to understand, is that what's coming, you're not going to be able to escape it. Like I just said earlier in this lesson, the average person isn't able to escape these agendas that the devil is bringing forward. This is why you can't have your kids go to these schools without being indoctrinated. This is why you can't work in a normal job without having these HR policies being pushed down from the higher ups. Because again, now everybody is now being affected. So that being said, to be saved from all these things going on, hey, check this out. Look at this demon bugging out. Look at this. Look at this. Go for it. Look at that. See? Check that out. This is what happens when a demon gets roused up when the word of God comes out. You're in a public place. Doesn't matter. So you could either be quiet and I can stop recording you. You want to just listen, or? Yeah, you're a bug out here on the street. Just listen and just listen to the word of the Lord come out and pay attention. So if not, you could be quiet and you can move down the street. So like I was saying, a lot of these 2/3 people are gonna die and be killed off or raped by a lot of the people coming out here, because they don't realize that a lot of these immigrants came over here. So
excuse me, I will sue you. I will. Trust me. I'm Larry H. Parker. Larry H. Parker.
Go ahead.
Oprah Winfrey.
Okay.
I will see you.
Just go down the street. It's okay. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to deal with you.
Because nobody wants to hear you right now.
Okay. This isn't for you. Too late. This isn't for you. Give me a step back. Hey, get back. Why are you feeling so Get back.
You feel some type of way? You feel some way? You're gonna chance at me?
Get back.
Are you gonna chance at me? Wait, you gonna hit me?
Look at this demon.
Because I'm a hyena? Because I'm a female. Because look, I'm a female.
Oh my God.
Because I'm a female.
Why don't you just listen? You don't realize, and what is that? You have a Bible here? Yeah. Why don't you pay attention, and why don't you get healed spiritually instead of causing damage and causing all this demons to come out?
I just want to say thank you to
God.
all the little people that had to step on to get here.
Look at this. Okay.
That's all.
So, like I said, Akim, so we're obviously coming to the end, Akim, and a lot of these crazy things are happening, and you can see the demons are being roused up. So let's go ahead and finish up with this.
I recycled my bottles. I used them for water.
So,
and look, I put rosemary.
And it says,
I have rosemary and lavender, because rosemary is grown everywhere in this world.
1 Peter 4:7, and it says,
I recycled my water bottles.
so it says, this is 1 Peter 4:7. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. It says, and above all things have fervent charity amongst yourselves, for charity shall cover a multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. So that being said, so that being said,
look, he don't want to hear me.
So that being said, you got to make sure.
You don't want to hear me.
Listen to what's going on, and just and don't worry about what's going on in the world. But we got to pay attention to the events going on and watch for what
I
the
wrote
events
down
going on over there
today
with World War III,
that I'm
and pay
going
attention to the
ask
apostles,
questions
the brothers,
of the people
and these
of this
lessons,
world. But you know
because
what?
again, there's going to be a lot of crazy things happening
He thinks
that are going to come and are going to destabilize our economy, our people, our family, and a lot of people are just simply going to bug out, and they're not going to realize what's going on. So either way, Akim, hopefully this video was edifying. We're going to go and give all honor and glory, or the brother actually comes out with Jeremiah 1 or 11 and 11, and it says, therefore, thus saith Yahweh Bashim Ashai, behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape.
What is evil
And
backwards?
though
Live.
they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them. Exactly. There's going to be a lot of two-third people out here in the world who are going to simply be evil.
Sir,
These two-thirds that the
I
Lord
wrote
is going to
this
ultimately
today.
bring
I know you don't wanna
destruction
sit up,
and
but
death
I-
to,
honestly,
and that they're going to ultimately try to call
I'm just
upon
gonna steal a
Jesus
little
or
bit of his
Jehovah,
pipe, okay?
and they're going to be found
So this is
to not
from
to be
from
wanting,
the time
and they're
of
ultimately
the
going to be destroyed.
dinosaurs
So
and
either way,
Howard.
Akim, the water
It
for
says this is from
these
NNE.
precepts, and the water for everything
Monica,
going on,
Marie, and
for
Cetus.
watching these lessons. And
These are
either
the
way, let's go
questions
and
I have
give
for
all honor
today,
and glory and
for
praises
today.
to
What does
Yahweh,
this mean to you?
Bashem,
Stand up.
Yahushai,
What
Bashem
does it mean
Rakakwadash,
when it says
Rakathe
stand up?
Yahweh, Rakathe
What does that mean
Yahushai,
to you?
Rakathe Yahweh,
When you- it
Rakathe
says
Yahushai,
stand up.
Rakathe
Does
Yahweh,
that mean
Rakathe
to
Yahushai,
physically stand
Bahashim
up?
Rakakwadash.
Make you
The
physically
water
stand
Akim
up?
for joining and for adding
stuff.
comments.
And
If you have any questions, go ahead and put
Who
them
is
down in the
president?
comment board.
I wrote
And if
this
not, I'll
book.
see you, Akim,
I wrote- actually-
throughout the week. Shalom.
Big brother, I don't know your name.
Look at that. See, so that shows you, Akim, that this shit's spiritual. Did you see? As soon as I basically turned off the video, the demons just fucking went down. So that shows you, man, that a lot of our women, though you may want to try to save them and everything, that they're simply no longer savable, right? They're simply vessels for Satan. So either way, hopefully this video was edifying, Akim. Until next time. Again, Sawada for joining. That was fairly interesting. So again, Yahweh Bashem Mashai brought a thumb to you brothers. Shalom. Take care.